You know, travel has a funny way of making us feel young again. There's just something about stepping into a new hotel lobby, breathing in that fresh scent of polished wood or crisp linen, and thinking, this is going to be an adventure. But let me ask you something. Have you ever opened up your laptop, or maybe even asked the grandkids to pull up a hotel website and thought, why on earth is this room $200 tonight when last week it was $120? It feels almost like the prices are playing hide and seek, doesn't it? One day it's affordable, the next it's through the roof. Well, here's the good news. There is a rhythm to it all. Hotels aren't just throwing numbers in the air. There are patterns. There are little tricks. And once you understand the best times to book, you can save yourself quite a bit of money. Money that could go toward a nice dinner on the beach or even another trip altogether. That's why today, we're diving into the best times to book hotels for maximum discounts, especially for those of us over 50 who've worked hard, raised families, and now finally have the chance to enjoy our travel years without breaking the bank. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me say this. Saving money on hotels isn't just about being frugal. It's about freedom. Every dollar you save on a room is a dollar you can put toward experiences, like that gondola ride in Venice, or that extra night at a cozy inn in the mountains, or simply spoiling your grandkids when they come along for the ride. And honestly, after years of working and planning for retirement, don't we deserve to make our money stretch as far as possible? So, let's get started. Booking at the right time of the week. Here's something most folks don't realize. The day of the week you book your hotel can make a big difference. Hotels, like airlines, change their rates depending on demand. For example, business travelers often book early in the week, driving up prices on Mondays and Tuesdays. By the time Thursday and Friday roll around, the demand shifts, and hotels start lowering their rates to fill empty rooms. I remember talking with a friend of mine, Carol, who loves going on little weekend getaways with her husband. She used to book their hotels on Monday evenings, right after she finished paying the bills and balancing the checkbook. It was part of her routine. But when she switched to checking on Fridays instead, she was shocked to see the exact same room listed for $50 less. Now, $50 might not sound earth-shattering, but think about this. If you're taking 3 or 4 trips a year, that's hundreds of dollars saved just by picking the right day to book. That's a few extra nights on the road, or a really lovely dinner overlooking the ocean. So, if you're looking to maximize discounts, try shopping around toward the end of the week. Fridays and even Saturdays tend to reveal better prices. It's a simple shift, but it can really add up. The sweet spot for advanced bookings. Now, the next thing worth knowing is timing your booking in relation to your trip. How far ahead should you actually book? Too early, and you might end up paying more. Too late, and you risk missing out altogether. Here's the sweet spot most travel experts agree on, about 3 to 4 weeks before your trip. That's when hotels have a clearer idea of their occupancy. If they see too many empty rooms, they start lowering prices to attract bookings. But if you try to book 6 months ahead, you're often paying the optimistic price, the rate hotels hope they'll get. Let me give you an example. Last year, I decided to treat myself to a little autumn getaway. I was eyeing a charming inn in New England, perfect for watching the leaves change color. 6 months before the trip, the price was nearly $300 a night. I thought, well, that's just how it is. Fall must be expensive. But I waited. And lo and behold, about 4 weeks before I left, the same room had dropped to under $200. Same bed, same breakfast, same view of the maple trees. Just $100 cheaper. That's the kind of difference that really matters. Because again, when we're in this stage of life, it's not about rushing from one trip to the next. It's about savoring every detail. And wouldn't it be nice to sip your morning coffee on the balcony knowing you saved enough to maybe stay an extra night? So, keep that 3 to 4 week window in mind. It's not a guarantee, of course. Nothing ever is in travel. But more often than not, it's when those sweet deals pop up. Midweek versus weekend stays. When you actually stay. You see, hotels don't just change their prices based on when you book, they also shift depending on the days you stay. Business hotels, the ones downtown or near airports, are packed on weekdays. That's when the business travelers are in town. But come Friday evening, those folks go home and suddenly the rooms are empty. That's when you can often snag a bargain for a Friday through Sunday stay. On the flip side, leisure destinations, think beach resorts, mountain cabins, or wine country inns, tend to fill up on weekends when families and younger folks are free to travel. If you can, aim for a Monday through Thursday stay in those places. Not only will you likely get a better rate, but you'll also enjoy a quieter, more relaxed atmosphere. No lines at breakfast, no crowds by the pool, just peace, quiet, and better value for your money. I had a couple, Jim and Marlene, tell me once that their favorite trip was a simple 4-night stay at a coastal inn in California. They went midweek, and the innkeeper told them their room was nearly half the weekend price. Half! And the best part? They had the place practically to themselves. So, if your schedule allows, and one of the perks of retirement is that it often does, consider adjusting your travel days. A Tuesday morning check-in might just be the difference between a pricey getaway and a budget-friendly one. Now, we've covered a lot already. We've talked about the best days of the week to actually book your hotels, the sweet spot for how far in advance to make those reservations, and even how shifting your travel days can lead to surprising discounts. The power of loyalty programs without tying yourself down. I know what some of you might be thinking. Loyalty programs. That sounds like something for business travelers flying every other week. And yes, that's how they used to be. But the truth is, hotel chains have realized that travelers like us, retirees, seniors, folks enjoying their golden years are an important part of their business. And they want to keep us coming back. Here's the beauty of loyalty programs. You don't have to be loyal forever to benefit. Signing up is free. And often the moment you join, you'll see reduced members-only rates right on their website. Sometimes it's $10 off a night, sometimes it's $20. Other times it's perks like free Wi-Fi, complimentary breakfast, or even a late checkout. Let me share a story. A dear friend of mine, Nancy, was on a cross-country trip with her sister. They weren't fussy about hotels, they just wanted clean, safe, and comfortable. At one point, Nancy decided to join a hotel chain's free loyalty program just to see what happened. Right there on the booking screen, the room rate dropped by $15 a night. Over their 10-night trip, that added up to $150, enough to cover a whole tank of gas and then some. The trick is not to think of loyalty programs as chains binding you to one hotel brand forever. Think of them as little doorways. You walk through, pick up your savings, and if you want, you can walk right back out. Why last-minute bookings can be your secret weapon. Now, this one might sound counterintuitive, because we grew up in a time when planning ahead was the golden rule. And yes, for family trips, holidays, or special anniversaries, you'll still want to plan in advance. But sometimes waiting until the last minute can actually land you the best deal. Here's why. Hotels absolutely hate empty rooms. Once the night passes, they can't sell it again. So if they've got a block of empty rooms sitting there just a day or two before, prices often tumble. Nowadays, there are even apps designed to show these last-minute bargains. Let me tell you about Jack, a widower I met at a senior travel group. Jack loves the freedom of retirement. He'll wake up on a Friday, feel a little restless, and say to himself, why not go somewhere new? He'll pull out his phone, check a last-minute booking app, and off he goes. One weekend, he snagged a boutique hotel room in Charleston, normally over $200, for just $120, simply because he booked it the same morning. Now, last-minute booking isn't for everyone. If the idea of uncertainty makes you uneasy, or if you're set on a very specific hotel, it might not be your style. But if you're flexible, spontaneous, and like a little adventure, this trick can save you big. The old-fashioned phone call. We live in an age where everything's online. Hotel websites, booking platforms, apps. But let me let you in on a little secret. Sometimes the best deal comes from an old-fashioned conversation. Hotels have to pay a commission to those big online booking sites. So if you see a good rate online, it never hurts to pick up the phone, call the hotel directly and politely ask if they can beat it. Many times, they'll match the price and toss in a perk just to save themselves the commission. I'll give you an example. My neighbor Margaret was booking a 3-night stay for her birthday trip. She saw a rate online for $150 a night. She called the hotel, mentioned the rate she saw online, and asked if they could do any better. The clerk paused for a moment and then said, "If you book with us directly, we'll give you 10% off and free parking." That's $45 saved plus free parking, which in that city was another $25 a night. It's a reminder that while technology is convenient, a human voice on the other end of the line can still unlock opportunities that a website never will. Flexibility is your friend. This might be the most important mindset shift of all. Flexibility is a superpower when it comes to saving on hotels. Being willing to adjust by just a day or two can change everything. Think about it. Most people are locked into school holidays, work schedules, or specific weekends. But if you're retired, you've got something powerful on your side. Freedom. You don't have to travel when everyone else is cramming into airports or rushing off for a long weekend. I met a couple, George and Evelyn, who use this flexibility brilliantly. They love visiting national parks. Instead of going during peak summer months when families flood the hotels and prices skyrocket, they plan their trips for late September. The weather is still lovely, the crowds are gone, and the hotel rates are dramatically lower. Evelyn said to me once, "We feel like we have the park to ourselves, and the money we save means we can afford to do it all over again next spring." That's the kind of advantage you only get at this stage of life. When your time is your own, your dollar goes further. Seasonal timing. Traveling during the shoulder seasons. Here's something many travelers overlook. The time of year can be just as important as the day of the week. Hotels adjust their prices dramatically depending on whether it's peak season, off-season, or what's called the shoulder season. The shoulder season is that sweet in-between period, just before or after the busiest travel months. Think late spring before the summer rush, or early fall after the kids are back in school. During these times, the weather is often still wonderful, attractions are open, and best of all, hotel rates drop like autumn leaves. Take Florida, for instance. Everyone thinks of winter as prime time, when snowbirds flock south. And yes, January can be pricey. But if you go in late April before the summer humidity sets in, hotels are noticeably cheaper. Or consider Europe. July and August are peak tourist months. But if you visit in May or September, you'll not only find lower rates, you'll also avoid the massive crowds. I know a couple, Richard and Elaine, who use this trick beautifully. They always wanted to visit Italy, but the thought of battling tourist hordes in July didn't appeal. So they went in mid-October instead. The weather was cool but comfortable, the lines at museums were short, and their hotel in Florence cost half of what it would have been in high summer. Elaine said she felt like they had this city all to themselves. That's the magic of seasonal timing. By choosing your months wisely, you're not sacrificing anything. In fact, you're often gaining peace, quiet, and extra money in your pocket. Bundling your hotel with other travel plans. Now let's move on to something many of us don't always think about: bundling. When you book your hotel together with your flight, rental car, or even a cruise, travel companies often offer package discounts. Why? Because they want your whole trip, not just one piece of it. I'll be honest, I used to shy away from packages because I thought they were too restrictive. But the industry has changed. Nowadays, sites and agencies make it easy to compare bundles with individual bookings. And more often than not, the bundles come out cheaper. Here's an example. A retired couple I met, James and Maria, wanted to visit their grandchildren in Denver. They looked at flights and hotels separately, and it added up quickly. Then they checked a bundled deal. Same airline, same hotel, but when booked together, it came to nearly $200 less. That savings went straight into their grandkids' spoiling fund, Fizz James put it with a grin. Another little bonus, bundled trips often come with cancellation protections or perks like free breakfast thrown in. It's a way for hotels and airlines to sweeten the deal while filling more of their seats and rooms. So, the next time you're planning, at least compare the bundled option. Even if you don't choose it every time, you'll know whether you're leaving money on the table. Remembering the big picture.
Before we wrap up, I want to touch on something bigger than just dollars and cents, because saving money on hotels is wonderful, but it's not really the heart of why we travel, is it? At this stage of life, travel is about freedom. It's about stepping out of the daily routine and seeing something new. It's about reconnecting with our partners, our friends, our families, or even with ourselves. The hotel is just the backdrop, the place where we rest our heads and recharge for the next adventure. I think about a conversation I once had with a woman named Joanne. She told me, I don't remember the thread count of the sheets in Paris, but I remember standing by the Seine with my husband, laughing like teenagers. And that's the truth, isn't it? The memories aren't about the four walls of a hotel room. They're about the moments we live outside of them. So yes, use these tips to save money. Book on the right days, choose the right weeks, try last-minute apps, pick up the phone, stay flexible, look at shoulder seasons, and compare bundles. But remember, every dollar saved is just a doorway into more experiences, more laughter, more moments that stick with you long after the trip is over.